Assemblyman Brodksy joins us now in the studio. Assemblyman, thanks very much.
Nice to be back.
So today you and Assemblyman Hoyt, who is a Democrat from Buffalo, introduced a bill that would abolish, flat out, 129 authorities, which you have talked about as being the shadow government. And why is this important?
Well, there are now going to be about 130 less Soviet-style bureaucracies in New York.
That's your favorite one.
That's a direct result of the reform bill we passed, the governor signed in December. And this is the practical consequence. People want a downsized government, we're going to give them a downsized government. This is the low-hanging fruit, I'll give you that. It's the easy ones, but it's a sign that we actually can reduce the number of government entities. As I said in my letter to Andrew Cuomo, we don't have to wait to 2011 to begin the process of reform in New York in a very effective way. I'm delighted to see those kinds of ideas being embraced by both the Republican and Democratic gubernatorial candidates. This is the real deal, and we had a very good start today.
Give us like some of the examples, because I went through the list, and some of them are kind of, I mean, you just not even believe that these things exist.
Well, some of them are local IDAs, industrial development agencies. Right. Some of them are parking authorities. Some of them are economic development entities. What we saw was a proliferation of these things. And as the call for a leaner, tougher government was made, and we were working on this authority reform thing at the same time, there was a great convergence. So if you go around the state, we're going to abolish these units of government. We're going to continue the rest of the reform effort. I'm in the middle of a reform fight now with the Fulton County Economic Development Agency, which just paid its staff members as much as $400,000 to $500,000 in bonuses with essentially public money.
But that's what these are. These have become longstanding. I mean, they were created at one point to really circumvent the real government, if you will,
exactly right.
Because it's cumbersome, and also to do some backdoor borrowing, because you can do that through an authority, and lard up the staff with patronage hires. I mean, that's what these are.
For better or worse, Robert Moses is spinning in his grave today.
Right.
After 70 years, we've begun the process of disassembling these Soviet-style bureaucracies, which have been doing these things without elected officials in control, without the knowledge of the public, in secret and in wasteful ways. You wanted reform? We gave you reform.
So the reform is really the buzzword again this year. It's been the buzzword. I mean, people just can't stop saying it. We talked to the convention about the new Democratic Party. We talked about, and yet, you know, we're seeing the efforts, and now we'll dovetail into a little bit of the politics. You are a candidate for State Attorney General, one of 5 Democrats who are vying to replace Andrew Cuomo, and you're seeing your opponents, particularly one of them, Nassau County DA Kathleen Rice, talk about Albany politicians as if it's some kind of dirty word.
Well, I'm going to let the name-calling be handled by everybody else in the race. This is what we did. While everyone else was calling for reform, we actually got it done. The authority reform bill is the largest reform of state government in decades. And today we had the practical result of those legislative reforms. So as we go through this, I'm going to be talking about property tax reduction, reduction in energy bills, the kinds of things that matter in the daily lives of New Yorkers. The squabbling, the elbowing, the arm twisting, I'm going to leave that to others. Not that I can't compete, but that in the end, that's not what's going to be good for the people of the state, and that's not what's going to win an election. The people of this state, the Democratic primary voters, are smart. And they're going to ask, what have you done for me? And I'm going to be able to talk about that.
But don't you have to defend yourself? I mean, when a person comes up and says, well, I'm an outsider, I'm the true independent because I've never been to Albany and I didn't have to go to Albany, and then you have the Attorney General, the one who's currently in that position, Andrew Cuomo, saying things yesterday on the radio saying, well, I am going to weigh in and pick a favorite, and then mentioning all 3 people who have never been in Albany, but not yourself or Eric Schneiderman.
Andrew Cuomo is an American citizen, and if he has an opinion, he has every right to express it.
Oh, wait a minute. He's the gubernatorial nominee, poised to be the most powerful guy in Albany.
I'm not finished. His father had a similar desire when he wanted to pick a lieutenant governor candidate in 1982.